here owns a Ford? Who here owns a Chevy? Well, at least one here. So, my original plan was to make this a persuasive speech on why you should buy a Silverado over an F-150. Since Schaefer did his speech on why to buy an F-150 over a Silverado, I figured I had to dispute that. But while I was doing my research, I found out that there's way too many options and combinations of options to go through to try and compare both of them as to which one's better than the other. So I decided to make it an informative speech instead. There are literally thousands of combinations of options between the two of these leading car manufacturers that picking one over the other couldn't possibly be easy enough. So today I will be doing a speech over two areas to explain to you why I would choose a Silverado over an F-150. And those two areas are going to be personal experience and information that I've gathered by researching to buy a new truck recently. Most of the information came from all these pamphlets. If anyone that have been to a car dealership, you'll recognize those pamphlets because every single car dealer wants to give you a ton of those and ask you 1,000 times to come buy a vehicle. But first off, I've owned several of both types of vehicle, Fords and Chevys. I've had two Chevy Blazers, a Ford F-150, a Ford Ranger, a Ford Mustang, a Silverado, and a Cruze. And none of them were very gently used. I put them all through their test. I used the off-roading ones for off-roading, and I drove the daily drivers just about into the ground. Out of the two Blazers, Mustang, Ranger, F-150, Cruze, and Silverado, I would have to say that Chevy is my choice for reliability reasons. I drove those things out of oil, the Blazers especially, at one point, and they still continue to drive without oil in them for several miles, so I would have been easily able to get back home with them. However, the Fords were a lot easier to work on in parking lots and on the sides of the roads to repair and replace major parts like water pumps, radiators, transmission, all the fun stuff. And I didn't need a garage full of tools to do it. So for that reason, I choose Chevy because I know it's reliable enough that I'll make it home from wherever I'm going, and I won't have to spend a day on the road trying to fix a major part. But also, there are many reasons that I would choose Chevy based on the research I've done lately. The first one is that the 1500 has a higher resistance to frame torsion on uneven terrain. And if you watch any commercials, the Fords, they'll show a Ford driving on two ramps on opposite corners, and the bed of it will flex so much that you can't even open the door on it. And the tailgate won't open, some of the back doors won't open on, depending which commercial you watch. Whereas compared to the Chevy, who they drive and do the same test with, it doesn't contort as much. You can still open the tailgate, the frames are a lot thicker so that they don't have as much torsion on them. The next big reason for me was the locking rear differential. If you've ever been stuck on ice and snow, automatic locking rear differential is a handy feature to have. You don't have to get out of the truck and lock it. You don't have to flip a certain switch and lock it. You don't have to put it in a certain mode to lock it. So it's a nice feature to have, especially going uphill. And the last couple of reasons is the hill descent assist was another big selling feature, which Chevy came out with this year for both gas and diesel engines. And it's just a nice feature to have whenever you're towing a heavy load going downhill, so you don't have to wear out your brakes as quickly. And you've also got the fact that Chevy's got a steel bed compared to the aluminum bed of the Fords that are easily puncture resistant. And you've also, that adds to the towing amount and the load limit that's allowed on it. Since they cut almost 700 pounds of weight from steel, then you get your higher towing and load ratings on it. So that's their big bragging point there, but they didn't, at what cost did they get that? So in conclusion, we went over why I would buy a Silverado over a Ford, but again, there's so many options that it's based on personal preference. It's going to be different for every person. We discussed my experiences and the information that I gathered while I was trying to gather information for buying a new truck. Any questions from anyone? All right, thank you.